Here's the thing nobody tells you about making your home look expensive. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with one skill that takes about an hour to learn, and by the end of this video, you're going to want to try it in your own home tonight. That skill is crochet. And today we're going through some of the most beautiful crochet pieces you can make for your home. Not the granny square blanket your grandma made in the 90s. I'm talking about pieces that actually look like they belong in a design magazine. Baskets, wall hangings, pillow covers, even lamp covers. Stick around because near the end, I'm going to show you one piece that changed the way I think about decorating a room. And it might be the easiest thing on this whole list. So here's the real problem. Most people want their home to feel warm and put together, but when they go shopping, everything looks the same. Same beige pillows, same plastic plant pots, same mass-produced baskets that fall apart in 6 months. You walk into a home decor store and it feels like walking into 10 other homes you've already seen. And the pieces that actually look unique and handmade, those cost a small fortune. A single handmade basket can run you $50, $60, even $80. A wall hanging like the ones you see on Pinterest can be well over $100. So people either give up and buy the boring stuff, or they spend way more than they wanted to just to make their home feel like their own. And that's the part that stings the most, spending real money and still walking into a room that doesn't feel like yours. Crochet fixes this in a way almost nothing else can. With one skein of yarn and a hook that costs less than a coffee, you can make something that looks like it came from a boutique. And once you get the hang of the basic stitches, you're not just saving money, you're making things nobody else in the world has. Let's go through the pieces that make the biggest difference in a home, starting with the ones that are easiest to make first. The first one is baskets. Crochet baskets are probably the most useful thing you can make for your home, and also one of the fastest. You use a thicker yarn, sometimes even 2 strands held together, and a bigger hook, and the basket almost builds itself because the stitches are so tight and sturdy. These baskets can hold blankets by your couch, magazines by your bed, toys in a kid's room, or even act as a plant pot cover. The trick that makes them look expensive is using a chunky, natural-colored yarn, something in cream, sand, or a soft brown. Skip the bright colors here. The plain, earthy tones are what give it that boutique look instead of a craft fair look. Next is plant hangers. If you have any plants at all, this one is going to change how your room looks completely. A simple crochet plant hanger takes maybe 2 hours to make, and it holds your plant pot up in the air using a few simple loops and knots. What makes this piece so powerful is height. Most rooms only have decor at eye level or below. The second you hang something from the ceiling or a curtain rod, the whole room feels taller and more interesting. You can use a thin cotton yarn in white or a soft neutral color, and it will look like something from a high-end plant shop, not a beginner project. Then there's wall hangings. This is where crochet really gets to show off. Instead of a flat piece of art, you're creating something with texture, with little bumps and loops and fringe that catches the light differently depending on where you're standing. A lot of people think wall hangings are hard to make, but the truth is, some of the best ones are just rows of simple stitches in different lengths, hung from a wooden dowel with the ends left loose to hang down like fringe. Cream and white together, or a soft rust color against a cream background, this combination almost never fails. Hang it above your bed or your couch, and it becomes the first thing people notice when they walk in. Pillow covers are next, and this one might be the biggest bang for your buck. You don't even need to make a whole pillow, just a cover that slips over one you already own. A textured stitch, something with a bit of a bobble or a raised pattern, turns a flat, boring pillow into something that looks like it belongs in a furniture showroom. The trick here is contrast in texture, not color. Keep the color simple, maybe an off-white or a light gray, but make the stitch pattern interesting so the light hits it differently across the surface. 2 or 3 of these on a couch completely changes how the whole room feels. Table runners and placemats are another one people don't think about, but they make a big difference during dinner or when friends come over. A thin cotton yarn in a lace-like open stitch pattern lets light pass through it a little, which gives your table a soft, delicate look. This is one of those pieces that feels fancy, but is actually one of the simpler things to make because the pattern usually just repeats the same few stitches over and over down the length of the table. Doilies are another classic piece, but forget what you're picturing. Instead of putting a big lace circle in the middle of a table like your grandma might have, try small ones under a lamp, a candle, or a plant pot on a shelf. Just that little circle of texture under an object makes it look like it was placed there on purpose instead of just set down. It's a tiny detail, but tiny details are usually what separate a room that looks decorated from a room that just has stuff in it. Coasters are the smallest project on this list, but don't skip them. A set of crochet coasters, maybe 4 or 6 of them in a slightly darker shade than your table runner, adds a small detail that guests always notice and ask about. They take maybe 20 minutes each, which makes them perfect if you want a quick win before jumping into a bigger project. One more small piece worth mentioning is a crochet vase or jar cover. Take an old glass jar or a plain vase you already have, wrap a simple crochet cover around it, and suddenly it doesn't look like a jar anymore. It looks like something you'd find in a candle shop. This is a great project if you have leftover yarn from a bigger project, since it barely uses any at all. Put a few flowers in it, real or fake, and set it on a shelf or your kitchen counter, and it becomes one of those small details that makes a room feel finished. Curtains are a bigger commitment, but they're worth mentioning because of how much they can transform a room. A crochet curtain, especially over a kitchen window or a glass door, filters light in a way that regular fabric just can't. The light comes through the little holes in the stitches and creates soft patterns on your floor and walls throughout the day. This one takes patience, since you're basically making a giant, wide piece of fabric, but even a small curtain over one window can completely change the feeling of a room. Rugs are similar. A crochet rug made with thick yarn or even fabric strips adds warmth to a room in a literal sense, since it feels soft under your feet, but also in the way it makes a space feel lived in and cared for. Round rugs in front of a chair or long runner-style rugs in a hallway both work well. The trick is going with a flat color or a very simple 2-color pattern, because a busy pattern on the floor can make a small room feel more cluttered instead of cozier. And then there's lamp covers, which might be the most underrated piece on this entire list. A crochet cover over a lampshade changes the way light spreads through a room. Instead of one harsh beam of light, you get a soft dotted pattern on your ceiling and walls, almost like a night sky. This works especially well with an open lacy stitch and a warm-colored light bulb underneath. It's a small project, usually done in under an hour, but it might have the biggest emotional effect out of anything on this list because it changes how your whole room feels the moment it gets dark outside.